Hello, everyone. This is Jen, and I am going to talk about the koshas. And so, this is a system within us that it's kind of, we could call subtle energy, but these are places that help us understand the nature of ourself. They represent different layers within the body, from physical to energetic. And they're also, we could call states of awareness. So from waking, dreaming, sleeping. And they're also related to what we would call the three bodies. So gross, subtle, casual. And that's for you to kind of look at on your own. We're going to try to stay kind of broad, but also do an embodied experience of maybe being able to touch into these types of energies. Um, and they are really just a way to explore and attain layers of consciousness and to connect more with our journey of yoga. And I guess if we were to set a goal, it would be just to become more aware of ourselves and different parts of ourselves, and maybe to experience it with more clarity, to be able to grow some awareness around energy within us. So buckle up and we will start. I don't have a presentation, but I do have a picture to show you. So I will share that here. Oops. I never claimed to be a tech person. Okay, hopefully you can now see a picture of the five koshas. And so you may also hear the word klesha. That is different. Today we are talking about koshas. And so what the word kosha means is like, technically it's like a sheath, but I like the word veil better. And so this idea of this like thin covering, I guess you'll come up with your own idea or image, but layers, sheath, veil, any of those words I think would be acceptable. And I like this image for it because it kind of reminds me of one of those nesting dolls that's like layered, right? If that helps give you any kind of physical image, which sometimes we actually really need so that our meaning making brain and our thinking brain can start to wrap our ideas around what this really could look like or feel like. And so one thing we have not really covered is the chakra system. And so I will be mentioning that, but hopefully giving you just enough insight to where it'll make sense and how this ties together. So one way that we perceive through these different subtle energy layers, and we could also name physical layers, is through the chakras. And so whether that is how we perceive life, right? We're taking in information, but also through the physical body and how we encounter things. So for instance, how we can get vibes, right? I guess for a lack of a better word. And so these layers, these veils that are layered, they are extended to the external, but they also like do cover third eye and eye. So sometimes we need to like really learn how to tap into this so that we can unveil and get more clarity around what's happening. They also are constantly working together. So just like everything within our body and everything in the universe, but within our body, that they are informing each other of what might be happening and working to heal one another. And so what happens to one happens to all. And I think that's just kind of an important idea around this, that they're not working individually or separately. And I would, from my current understanding today, say the same thing about the chakra system. So while we may hear things like one is blocked or things like that, I would really stick with this idea that they are informing each other, right? And working together. Because that's what our system is always working towards, is life, healing, safety, right? That they are building upon one another. Hopefully that makes sense. And everything I say today is yours to explore as well. And take that and run with it and soak into these, right? So and know that we can change our minds as we continue to learn and grow. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna just jump in and we'll look with our brains and our eyes first, and then we'll go through each one into a practice. So this first layer, this outermost layer, Anamaya Kosha. Uh, Anamaya Kosha, we could just name the physical body. Um, Also, if you look into some of the translation of it, it would be also called the food body, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Um, this has to do with thinking of it like a storage system. This is this is our past, this is our untapped resources, this is what's kind of holding so much. It is cellular, right? It is the physical body. And also it's made of the elements then, right? That this is where a lot of things happen. So thinking of this along lines where we would start, even though it might seem like the inside would be the root, this would actually, this being the physical body, is where we would think of the root chakra. So still located in the lower part of our physical body, but as a whole, this would be most connected with that chakra, relating to safety, relating to survival, groundedness, this kind of idea. One thing that I think is interesting, we'll start with a translation that I think is really cool about this. So the AUN, or the A, in this slide it is ANNA, but I've also seen it with a U, translates to food. Ma, the MA, means like she, divine, mother, nature, prakriti, which is our true divine nature, and Ya, the YA, measure. So if we put that together, it would be something like she who measures. And I think that is very cool. She who measures what? She who measures her past and untapped resources. She who measures, embodiment and groundedness. And so if you put an image with this, this would be even like these are your salt of the earth people, right? Like that sensation is the best word I have for it. But this can also show up, right? Everything, I don't even like to put it into good or bad or high or low or any of that, but for a lack of better language, we'll just call it like there's a shadow side to each part of this also. So we can have, just like in anything, we can have a lot or we can have a little. And so that this more shadowy part of this energetic body is like, I only want to just be around my people. I get too stuck, or I have a lot or excess within the root, right? Thinking about root and earth and that too muchness, that muddy stickiness. So the medicine for Anamaya Kosha, it is our root chakra medicine, right? It is getting into the body. So even knowing like we're not here, but really down to the root of this is physical movement, this is massage, this is our herbal medicine, these are our embodiment practices, mudras, food, sex, massage, like anything that helps draw us closer to our internal physical experience. Does that make sense? I hope so. So for this first practice, we're just going to touch and notice the physical body. And while we do that, I'll just speak briefly on this idea of this bigger spiritual meaning around the food body, but this idea that, okay, if we're all interconnected, that I one day will return to earth and become literal food for other beings that will feed on me. And that's a little dark, but also like it really speaks to the interconnectedness, I think, of us. And that in return, I also have to feed and nourish myself to like keep the whole cycle and rhythm of life going. Okay, so back to squeezing. So squeezing, just noticing, feeling the edges. Maybe it's doing some flexing. Maybe it's some hip circles and like really feeling into like your sitting bones. Yeah. And just as you do this, tap, squeeze, move, but just notice and see what's present. And maybe if you're taking notes, you just jot a little thing down. I noticed blank, and you can come back to it and explore again. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to kind of breeze through, even though these are really big. We could spend hours and hours talking about just each one of these, but we're just kind of doing a 101 here. And then we'll do the embodiment practice. Okay, so our next layer, prana, you might know that word, prana maya kosha. So this layer, this energy, this life force energy veil, right? And this is energy. So it will include in this kosha, you may be familiar with these words, you may not, but like our nadis, 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 which are channels. So there's like about 84,000 of those or so. Or meridians, if you're more in the traditional Chinese medicine, are chakras. So if we have all these lines moving through us, the nadis, the chakra system is the hubs where they kind of meet. Our vayus, which are energy pattern movements, we have 5 of those that move in different directions, and our subtle doshas, which are prana, tejas, and ojas. So different ways that our energy presents itself. This could be measured or experienced about 6 centimeters away from your skin. So it's that just like almost touch kind of space, if that makes sense to you. This one does correlate. So we mentioned all those energy systems within this one system, but that word prana, life force energy, right? And to remember, prana follows our focus or our attention. So where I put my attention is where my energy goes and flows. And it can extend wide, it can be brought in. We can focus, we can move, we can utilize points on our body to move some of this. So there's different energy work that can be done. Yeah, but the second chakra, so our coming up from the root, right, or working in the second chakra, this whole area is about creativity. This is like really a home for life force energy as it's moving in and through and out of us. And so really think about that in our anatomy and physiology of this is the place and space in our body where life begins, right? And that, so to me in my brain, that makes sense that this is our creativity. And we can talk more on that in a chakra video, but knowing that whether, yes, we are bringing forth actual human life or birthing a project or tapping into that, it is very much all the same quality and in essence of energy. So medicine work for this, it is a kind of a blend. It's a blend of I feel safe, so doing some of those root exercises, that it starts to blend the physical and the energetic. So I feel safe enough to like really explore this, right? So some breath work also, just kind of getting things moving, heating things up, but also this idea of playing with expansion and contraction, this pulsation of life, right? That happens within us. Spanda is the word for this, like this ball that expands and contracts. And maybe you can even tap into what that might feel like within you. Okay, so we'll do a little practice here. Um, yeah, so just take your hands and like rub them together until it makes heat, until we could make like physical energy. Energy is happening physically right here, but just let it sit here and make a little prana ball and just notice. See if you could let it pulse, let it charge. And maybe you do it a couple times just to get familiar with what it could feel like. Just let your prana ball be any size, color you want. And then we're going to bring it in towards the heart space and just lean back into some support. Mm. See if you can draw a line around your body. So just all around and just tapping into that 6 centimeters away from your body. See if you can just tap into that expanding and contracting sensation. I'm just adding on one more piece. Picture this like honey colored light right above your head. And just let it move down and around you without touching you. So just kind of oozing down and around the physical body. And just see if you can experience repair and restore here. Yeah. Good. We could stay there for a long, long time, but just as you're ready, just kind of pull yourself back. Maybe even pulling that energy like in and just making a remembering, making a recording of it, what that was like to experience. And if you're a note taker, maybe you just write that down. Okay. Take a little stretch, wiggle a bit. Okay, now we're going in a little deeper. So stay with me here. We're going to look at Maya Kosha. And so we could think of this as like our mental body, outside of our brain, this space that remembers. And, this is where we might have like meanings, thoughts, ideas, images. And if we were to measure it out, it could extend from about like 6 inches to 12 inches out from the body. So even though we're going deeper subtly, it's actually, this one is still landing outside of us. And whenever we start here so physical body plus energy equals, this is the math equation, body plus energy equals soul portal. And I really like that. And if we looked at prana, life force energy, plus mano, this is our astral body and our emotional nature. Who knew we were going to be doing math in this? So things like this, this is still lining up with the chakra system. So Manipura, the third chakra, solar plexus area. And this chakra, without going here, but this area is about like me. This is about my willpower, my confidence, my knowing. And this starts getting laid in place in like our human development in like early teen years, right? Like, who am I going to be, right? And how will I be me? And then we get to add this more energetic spiritual piece. So think of Mana Mayakosho as like a low level manager, not the CEO, but just like low level. They have some say on how things are going. They can make some really important decisions. They can give you a refund and a coupon, but like they don't really let you like own the store. And so this is the understanding. My mind is not in my head. My mind is like actually in my body. Somebody, this may be the person who's like, I can feel the room. Like I really can understand what's happening here. So stay with me. We're going to go through some larger words here and some concepts, but manas, the mind, so not mano, but manas is so manas. This is the like reactive piece of our mind. This is the animal brain, and it's the I think, right? So there's this idea also about how intelligent our cells are, right? And putting samples into a petri dish, and that we are always wired for survival and for safety so much that if I were to put like in a petri dish and put a virus in there, that it starts moving away from it, which is wild, right? And always moving away from threat and always moving towards what I like and what I love. What I like and what I love, I like to move towards. That makes sense, doesn't it? Rasa is really like our moods, our emotions. It has other meanings, but for this, we're using rasa as moods and emotions, and it's the I feel, right? So I think, I feel, and then there's there's the ego piece of us, right? The sense of self, and that shadowy piece can be like, I am in this all alone. I'm in this all alone. Okay, so I break that down because when we're talking about we'll go back to the low level manager, okay? We have this idea of buddhi, right? So not Buddha, buddhi. And this is the CEO of our minds. This is like our highest functioning aspect. And I'm taught that it's like the precursor to intuition, that we may not know the highest level of of the soul, but like I know kind of how to find my way there with some guidance. And so we're really finding this. I want to give you another word, chitta, which I've become a huge fan of this word. So chitta, chitta. And this is like our stuff. This is our stuff, and we'll experience this in a minute, but it's really like the storehouse of our memories and our thoughts. And yeah, so like putting all these words and ideas together, hopefully I'm tying it together for you enough, but we want to be able to like be responsive, and we also want to, it's okay to like have this reaction to things, but we want to be reactive where it's appropriate, not like these overreactions where I've got this story in my head and I've already gone 5 steps ahead and I'm like, here's how it's going to be, and right, like a little different. So when we go back to this idea of body, the math equation, body plus energy equals soul portal, the portal into this kosha is like going to therapy. It's figuring out the stuff, right? The who I am. It is working with our emotions. It's working with our dreams. It is doing visualizations. It's doing yoga nidra. It's meditating. So we're working on this different level. Okay. I get excited about this. Okay. So now how we will encounter this, we're going to really like, there's a word, atar karana, and this is like this idea of tuning into this inner instrument, right? Using the mind to see the mind. And I don't even know if I know what that means yet, but using the mind to see the mind. And so instead of here, maybe we can just even, we'll go deeper and see if we can notice. And then we will know that chitta, the stuff comes up. And then we come back. And then it comes up. And then we come back, right? This is the practice that we're talking about of really the portal into working with Manamaya Kosha. So we're going to come back, wiggle and shimmy and do all the things that you need and see if we can just drop back in where we were, back to that honey around our body. And just, yeah, allow yourself. We don't have to understand everything or know everything, but instead we get this opportunity to experience. And in addition to that honey that's around your body, now see if you would invite a waterfall down your back. So noticing that you have length. Your waterfall could still be made of honey, but just letting it also move down the spine, down the shoulder blades, down your skin, out the soles of your feet. And we're going to create a triangle. So just connecting some points on our body. And we'll just use our shoulders for this one. So noticing your right shoulder and then drawing a line across your collarbones to your left shoulder. So a downward facing triangle. And then that point, we'll just let the point be your belly button. We'll just kind of keep this middle body. So let's just spend a few moments here just working with the triangle. So we'll move from our right shoulder to our left, and then down to the point, up to the right, to the left, to the point, and to the right. And so we'll come back to this, but already we may have chitta, we might have the stuff. This is the thinking mind. This is our daily mind. This is the stuff we have to do. This is the memories, our moods, our emotions, our responses, our sounds, our sensations, right? So when that pops up, just this little, when we see it and identify it, we're like, I like to make a little bell. So we're like, oh, that's chitta. Ding. Just give a little ding. And then come back to the triangle or come back to the waterfall. And this noticing, this catching, this awareness, this is the part that guides you back. This is Buddhi. This is the wise mind, right? The highest part of us, the roadmap to our intuition. And so keeping this awareness moving, this Buddhi, helps us stay. So we'll just spend another moment or two, either with your waterfall or your triangle, but just allowing this downward flow through your body. Yeah, good. Okay, now let's make a recording of that so we can come back, this remembering of, oh yeah, the waterfall or the triangle inside of the honey boundary. Okay, we're moving down one more layer here. So this word, Vyanamaya Kosha. This is also named the wisdom body. It could be correlated, connected to heart and throat chakra energetically. This area is very much about our spiritual discernment. So the moving closer, right? We just talked about Buddhi and that precursor to intuition. And so what does that mean? The portal to get to this one, right? Instead of mind plus energy or body plus energy, now we are Buddhi mind is the actual like portal or gateway, this higher self we're moving towards and in. Um, and so, one thing to know about this is that the Buddhi mind never gets it wrong. The Buddhi mind never gets it wrong. And we can use it just as the divine has intended, that this is your inner guru, your inner teacher. And this is also possibly the aspect of your mind that is drawn towards divine, God, spirit, whatever you want to name it. But this this longing towards something larger. We talked before about, just touched on ego, the I am, right, in this different way. But that is more I am, right? This, when we're looking at healthy ego, it is knowing who we are, yes, and also who others want to see us as. And so discerning the two, right? Discerning the two. So we'll pause, okay? And ask, what is the next best highest choice, right? What is the next best highest choice that I can make? And so that involves all of these layers that we've worked with already. And what would happen if I spent like even a half of a day or a week operating from this space, right? Learning how to tap into and also trust in our inner teacher, guru, intuition. So, thinking about, when have I not listened to this in my life? That's a great journal prompt. When have I not listened to my inner knowing? When have I? When did my intuition not show up for me? Big questions. Take time with those. So write those down. When have I not listened? What happened? When did I listen? How did that go? When has my intuition not showed up for me? Okay. So we don't need to draw into those questions right now. One thing I did not name was the physical sensation or location of this. Viana Maya Kosha, all the way out to about 3 feet. That's kind of a big one. 3 feet. So noticing that we had that area around us and now it begins to expand, and then we can pull it in, right? Back to that contraction of energy. So we're going to come back to our comfortable seat and we're going to just kind of tune into heart space. Maybe it's helpful to like have, the back of your heart space supported. And the first image that we'll give this, we're keeping all the others with us. We're just growing and building, but now we're going deeper. But imagine an ocean and waves in front of your heart space. If it's helpful to gesture that, yeah, please do it. But if you can even sense what it might be like to have ocean waves coming and going right in front of the heart. Just play with that. Okay, now that you've tapped into that, now watch. We're going to, as it comes in, we're going to come around like angel wings. That's the best image I have for it. So, like, we bring it in, angel wings down around the back, and then coming back, right? So, in and around and down, right? So, just sit and play with this a bit. And as you're there, maybe notice if you're able to soften a bit in your back, maybe even allow yourself to drop a little bit of armor, to even surrender your heart into this practice. Even notice what it's like as you draw in towards yourself. What's your experience here? And we just let this wave have a life and a teaching of its own. A question here, if it's feeling resistant, of is there a block that's keeping me from being completely okay with love or in love? Or we could even ask about receiving. Is there a block? And then we can just ask wisdom. Please, support, please, wisdom, come, come, come. I give you my mind, and I want to access this wisdom within myself. You could, even if you know what that block is, you could offer up the problem and the issue. If there's a deity that you work with, or asking spirit, wisdom, support to help me see this perceived problem through my highest mind, through my Buddhi mind, so that I may receive wisdom, so that I may find clarity. Okay. Allow yourself some breath. Writing down anything you might want to write down. And then making that download so that we can have a remembering, so we can come back to this one more time, right? Okay. Stretch, breath. Whew, here we go. This is a lot. This is a lot. So come back to these as you need to. Okay, our final layer here, Ananda Maya Kosha. And this is really interesting. So this could be seen as a goal. Instead, I think this is something to taste, something to experience, and something to then marinate in, maybe. I like using food words. But so essentially this word Ananda will define as bliss, right? We could call this the bliss body. I have been enlightened. I have become self-aware, whatever words we want to put to that. But here's something that I think we have to put with it and understand. Bliss, and this is probably unpopular opinion, bliss does not mean I am happy all the time. I am just so zen, baby. And it is not about happiness, because it doesn't care what's happening in life, because This is bigger than that. This goes beyond space. This goes beyond time. So something like birth, death, I'm in a hospital bed. I have had the most devastating heartbreak of my life, and yet it's the sweetest thing, and it's charged with something that maybe we can't even name, but it is bliss in it, or it has a bliss potential behind it. Does that make sense? This is the most gut-wrenching thing I've ever been through, and yet I've never experienced such love. So this is really tasting who we are beyond our physical, beyond our mental, beyond that this is a spiritual portal. And so we're back to this idea, coming back around one more time to this idea of ego and things like this, and this idea of really not attaching to who we are. So this idea of I'm a regular person, I'm functioning with a fairly healthy ego. This is very vital because there's a part of us that really needs that. We need to go through that first. I need to find out who I am. I need to be okay with it. I need to function out of this confidence. And then I gotta let it go. That's all in this part of this kosha. So I figure it all out. And then also that's not really who I am, because I'm much deeper and wider and higher, and right. And so your fun term for this is neti neti. And I love this teaching from one of my teachers, Katie. And so this really means not this and not that, right? So something like, yeah, I am Jen, and she is this and this and this, and she feels good about herself and all these things. And also she's totally not that. That's just one kind of bad example, but we're really in this space operating from potential, we're operating from awareness. And this is where all the Buddhas and all the demons and all the things are living and hanging out together. This is the trauma, karma, drama, all of it. So how do we experience this? So we've kind of found our roadmap, right? We got to all of this all the way back to Annamaya Kosha. We've got to tap into what does safety and security and stability mean for me, and how do I know how I'm experiencing it physically, and how am I tending to it? How am I she who measures? How am I measuring this? And moving through the energy pieces of us, and moving energy and working with it and experiencing it, and clearing the way of our memories and images and thoughts to get down to the good stuff, to start to get down to my inner guru and some wisdom, so that I may experience all of it, all the lifiness, right? And beyond. Okay, so for your practice, we're going back into that flow state. If it's okay, just to tap in, and maybe you do this again and again so that you have, you'll be able to piece together this a little more familiar for your body. Okay, so we're back in this flow, back into the waves, coming back in. You're welcome to add the angel wings, but just knowing, sensing that this energy is moving. Only this time there is no more resistance, because you've offered it up. So this time it may feel a little different. See if you can just surrender your physical body towards gravity. And come back through that energy body any way that you would like, just knowing that it is there and moving and working. And we can notice our thinking, and we can notice our feeling. And we get to swim through the wisdom body with a greeting to the high minds. Hi, Booty, I see you. And here we are to witness all of our parts and all of our layers. And just opening our heart to all of ourselves, opening your heart to all of you. And maybe here we could feel the denseness of the body. This is really this like truest part of ourselves, but like floating like an island in the sea of something so wonderful. So just feeling, but also what that might feel like just to be floating as an island in something so pleasant and wonderful. This vast space, there's really beyond any limitation here, just floating. And yet it is so tenderly nourishing. We're not floating alone. There doesn't need to be fear on it. It is nourishing. See if you can sense the body like an island. Any thoughts, any feelings, it's just us being awareness. It's just chitta. And any sensation, any reaction, it's just a wave that comes and goes. It's neti neti. It's not this and it's not that. It just is. Knowing that the island resists nothing, that it's the wave that's moving. And the water just meets the island. And just opening your heart to who you are in this moment, resisting nothing, welcoming all. And allowing yourselves just to hang here, to allow this nourishing, this space where all of us is welcome. And learning as we travel through and in and down and experiencing ourselves and our inner teacher. Take your time here, and when you're ready, just kind of come back out, start to make your way back towards noticing the physical body and how it's been supported. Maybe there are some more of those touches or wiggles. Maybe some flexing and some softening. Great. When you're ready, just make your way to however you want to be. But thanks for listening. And I wish you such joy and such goodness as you start to dig into these ideas for yourself and apply them into your life and how that might look and feel for you. So keep me posted and reach out with any questions.